For those that are interested, this video we're talking about Faith and Arabella's story in her jiu-jitsu. I need you like jiu-jitsu. Hello everyone, welcome back to another YOBJJ podcast, otherwise known as Youth of Brazilian Jiu-jitsu. If you are new here, this is a space, an area, a community where we like to empower, educate, and have fun, and sharing our various stories. And today I have a special guest all the way from Melbourne. I'd like to introduce Arabella Julian. Thank you so much for being part of today's podcast and saying yes.
So I'm Arabella Julian, or what my teammates call me, Abby. I started jiu-jitsu in 2016, so I was 12 years old. Yeah, it's a sport that I've, grown to love, and how I started was actually an accident, but I've been doing martial arts since I was 5 years old. So it's grown to be my passion. And no, I just love the community in jiu-jitsu, especially. I love my team.
About now how the faith, how God has been an impact in your life, if you could share something about that.
Yeah, so I've grown up in a Catholic household, very like a religious family. We go to church every week. In terms of my jiu-jitsu, I didn't really see, and in life in general, I didn't really see the impact and the need for God in my life until COVID happened last year. When everything gets taken away from you, and you're confined to your house with just your family, it makes you reevaluate a lot of things. And I was reflecting about how grateful I was and how God was working in my life and in my jiu-jitsu and whatnot. And I remember me and my dad were on a walk, and he was like, if we didn't have the opportunity to come to Australia, I don't think you would, be doing jiu-jitsu. I don't think we'd be able to travel the world competing or seeing the world in general, and that just put things into perspective. I'm very privileged, very blessed to live the life that I live now, to have a lot of goals and aspirations and to work towards them. But then, God may have a different plan for you. I remember start of last year, actually, I had my background on my phone were all the competitions I wanted to go to and all the comps that I wanted to win and the titles I wanted to win. And then, it was like a reality check. And God said, no, not yet, not your time yet.
Wow. Oh, made me a little bit teary and emotional in a way, hearing that. Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. And for all those that are listening, okay, we're not forcing anything upon you guys. We're sharing our perspective on our spiritual life. And it is incredible to hear about how the faith has been able to provide you with that perspective and understanding that he works in mysterious ways, right? And of course, the lockdown, like you said, has been more of a purpose to really reflect and reevaluate. Like you said, I like how you worded and how you got to where you are. Like, there are little things that God kind of places in our life, and it's not what we want, it's what we need, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think it's a big strength to have the faith within you, especially in competing. Just
yeah, for sure
knowing that someone's there, although of course he's not visible, but we can believe here in our heart, that he's there supporting us, right?
And the amount of like his presence, I really feel it in competition. His strength, I really draw from his strength, because there's been times where I've walked out on the comp mats and just wasn't in it mentally. Physically I'm there, mentally I'm not. And you draw on his strength, and you realize you're capable of doing it with his will and with his power. There's been comps, like I remember going to Worlds my first year of juveniles, and physically I was there, like I was prepared, but I didn't have the experience, and ultimately it wasn't my timing, like it wasn't God's time for me. And then he worked his way, he worked his will in my life, and later that year I was able to compete again internationally, and I found greater success there. And it just shows that God's timing and God's strength and his will for your life is so powerful. You know, only like when you give him the power to and the ability to. Yeah.
Definitely. In another way to say, like, surrendering to him in a way,
Mm-hmm.
and just like letting go. I guess as humans we can be so caught up in controlling everything in our life, but we have to at some point have this realization that we have to let go of things that we can't control of, and only what we do have control, which is, like, for instance, exercise, or just like little tasks that we can do during the day to make purpose of our day and to be of service. And I think it's truly amazing to share this with you, and into how you got started, Arabella. So
Okay. So I was, yeah, again, 2016, I was 12 years old. And I've been doing, I was doing Taekwondo before that, with my brother. And yeah, a club closed down. There was some like financial issues and whatnot. And my dad saw a family friend who was training at the gym that I'm training at now, posting things on Facebook and whatnot. And he reached out and we just started off. We tried it out to see if we liked it. Both my brother and I threw up our first class. It was a tough class,
yeah,
but
tough class.
yeah, but we loved it. We went back. I think I was hooked that very first session.
So what has got you passionate about competing? Why do you do this?
I love a challenge. I'm very competitive in literally everything I do, and I always try to hold myself to a high standard, not because like I think I'm all that or whatever. It's just that I want to continue to push myself to be better personally, and to hopefully along the way inspire other people. And honestly, it's just a love for the sport. Like I got brought up in a team that just valued family and community, and ever since then I've kind of taken that with me. There's a lot of things that are out of our control, but when you draw on what you can control, it brings you like peace. Like when you stop worrying about the things that are going around in the world that you can't change, or in your life that you can't change, you just let it be in a way, and have faith that it'll work out, whether you like how it works out or the process of it. It'll work out in the way it's meant to be.
Currently, and the second one is the ugliest one, so like two opposite ends, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have to think.
Yeah.
Highlight.
We're digging deep.
Olympics. So my last competition this year, that I've competed in, which was earlier this year, that was, I think, a highlight for me in ways that is different to my other competitions. Some things were going on, and I just, I got injured 2 weeks before the comp. I was stressed. I pretty much wasn't training. I was just working on getting healthy again. Mentally, I wasn't there. And I remember before my absolute division, that comp, I was freaking out. Like I was overwhelmed. I almost didn't get out on the mats, and I went to my coach and I was like, I don't know if I can do this, like I'm gonna cry, like I don't think I can do this. And in that moment I felt God speaking speaking through him to me. Put away what I was feeling at that time and do what I needed to do, which was compete and perform and do what I've been training for, and God's presence in my life at that comp is such a big highlight to me. It just showed his strength and that I am not alone in what I'm going through. And yeah, like I've had other competitions where I've like winning gold and whatever has been a cool thing, but that comp in particular means so much to me. A division with just guys, and I remember getting absolutely smashed. And
Yeah.
I just felt, and it was like a little inter-club comp. And I just remember, I don't know, I was like, oh, it's so embarrassing. Like, I just got absolutely smashed, blah, blah, blah.
Into like a perspective, like it could be an ugly moment of yours, but I picture myself like my ugliest moment, two different ways, like reacting to it, right? We can either, take it the loss as a way of just like being sad and going through that way, or taking the loss as something to overcome and to look forward to and better yourself for the next time.
Losses, I think it's so important to lose. You learn so much from a loss, and I think that drives you more than a win. Like the losses that I've experienced in terms of comp has made me work so much harder and make me want to train and compete a lot harder. That you don't just prioritize the win, you prioritize the lead up and what you do before that win happens.
Really great point for all those that are keen or interested in competing. Of course, past this whole lockdown period, we can do our best in preparing for that. And of course, it's out of our hands. And I like how you said that at the moment of the competition, it really doesn't, you don't really have any control of the outcome. How has your family been part of your training, your team, and the things around you?
Yeah, so I've always I've been training with my brother since I started. So we both started jiu-jitsu together, and we've been doing martial arts together for a while. But the thing is, we don't actually train that much together. Apart from lockdown last year, we were training a lot. My very first coach, he was actually Philo, and shout out Chris Ninney. He was a queer to me. I love my team. They're so supportive on and off the mats, and they just want to see you succeed in every aspect. So in every way, in every what's it called, walk in my life, I've taken a lot of lessons from jiu-jitsu and from my team. And my parents, they've been such an important part of my journey and just life in general. Like,
for all those that are listening, make sure to follow our Arabella on her journey. It's really incredible to see what you're doing. And another quote to mention here is don't just exist, live, if that makes sense. So why I talk about that is that I believe everyone has potential in their life, and to follow each day living like it was my last, in a way, and to really continue the positivity, like I said earlier, with this whole period. And I hope that everyone is doing well and staying positive during this period, for all those that in Australia, during this whole lockdown. But yeah, I would like to give this time to you, Arabella, if you could wrap it up and share a little something to close this video.
Firstly, I just want to thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to speak about my journey and something that I'm so passionate about. For all those listening and watching, take it a day at a time. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't compare your journey to someone else's. Have faith in yourself that you can accomplish what you want to accomplish with hard work and dedication, and trust that it'll all fall into place. Keep working towards your goals. If you want it, go get it. There's no one stopping you but yourself.
To Arabella for sharing her time with us today and sharing her story. And that's another wrap to today's video, everyone. I'd like to say a huge thank you for all those that kept up to this video and are listening, and look forward to the next one, everyone. Keep safe, keep smiling, keep training hard. Sohia e treina duro. Peace, everyone. Bye. See you next time.